Welcome, friends.
Hello, everyone. We're glad you could join us once again this week, and we're so happy to always to read your comments.
Yes.
And we appreciate the likes that you give to us because with Facebook, that's a really important element for businesses, especially.
For sure. It helps our algorithm and it helps your algorithm too. That way you're sure to see us every time.
Yes. Well, this week my sewing group met, and we had a wonderful time as normal. We're a sisterhood of gals that get around the tables, and we stitch and we talk, and we have a little bit of agenda we follow, but most of the time we don't. One of the things we do appreciate is those of you that have uh, heard about our sewing group and have stopped by and left off some fabrics that you're no longer using, or that you cleaned a closet or maybe a relative's house and didn't know what to do with these things. And you can give them goodwill, certainly, but sometimes they just bundle them up. They aren't always put out maybe to sell or to go on and do other things. And when they're scraps or when they're just used fabrics and such, we really do appreciate them because we give them a second life.
Yes, you do. We've made some beautiful things.
We do. We make things out of them either for ourselves, maybe to give to someone else, or maybe to give to a charity. So all those things work together. So if you have something and you want to, dispose of it, just let us know.
Yeah,
We
you bet.
appreciate that.
It's been some really neat things brought in the second life that they've been given, like the crazy quilts that you guys have repurposed and made
Oh,
into
yes.
beautiful things that
Yes.
the handiwork of these women from ages gone by, that the hours and hours and the dedication and the blood, sweat, and tears have
Yes.
gone into these beautiful things, and sometimes we don't know what to do with them in modern life, and so it's I think stitchers really appreciate other
We do.
stitchers' work.
We certainly do. We know that time.
You understand,
We
right?
do. Well, this morning as I came through the my little pathway to come up here, I saw so many different things. I drive an old electric golf cart. That was my hubby's way back when. And it's quiet, so as you come through the woods, I might be able to see a deer, a skunk, a fox. I've seen them all. And when it's so quiet, and I go very slow, so I can be aware of and see things around me. Sometimes I just stop and look. And this morning I saw ironweed. I saw that the Osage hedge balls were starting to fall. The Queen Anne's lace is still in abundance out there. And I noticed that the elderberries are drooping their heads because the berries are filling and they're changing colors now.
They are.
And that's always a sweet sight to see. It won't be long before we'll be gathering those.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think it's always important to be aware of and see what's happening around us. Nature is always changing. And
So
as
true.
we change.
So true. Yeah, I walked out this morning and there was a young doe eating apples off our tree again.
Again.
And the other day when it was kind of a little bit drizzly, we looked out and there's been a mama doe with two really young, beautiful spotted, small spotted fawns. They're so sweet. And they were out there eating apples off the tree. And of course I took a little video of it and Derek posted on his site. And I said, I'm going to title it, what did I say? Eating apples in the rain. And he said, I'm going to title it Rodents of Unusual Size. Which is, of course, that was good for a laugh, but we really do appreciate the deer most of the time until they're eating roses and
Yes.
things like that.
we have learned to share.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and it is wonderful. I was walking back from the shop the other day too, and I just stopped because it's July and the cicadas were really, making music, singing their songs, and I just stopped and appreciated. It's just a few weeks that they're here, and then they're gone. And like so many things in nature, they're a fleeting pleasure, and they really are part of the season of summer.
And the cycle of
And
life.
the cycle of life, that's right. I've been rereading an article that I really love, and I may have talked about this article before because I love this article, and I just ran across it as I was going through my computer the other day, and it's an article by Nancy Lawson, and she is the author of the two books, Wildscape and The Humane Gardener. She has a website too, thehumanegardener.com, and this article is really a really powerful, I think, perspective-changing article. Much like, she reminds me of Robin Wall Kimmerer, one of our very favorite authors. And Robin Wall Kimmerer's work really, part of what she talks about is how our language really dictates our perspective, which is a really powerful thing to think about. And so Lawson, in her article, she's really raising awareness about how language changes our perspectives about the lands that we live on. And our language about land is very human centric, and we see ads and news stories that reinforces this really regularly. And so she encourages us in this article to think about words like messy, overgrown, unruly, pest, weed, underdeveloped, words that describe natural landscapes really and are really full of negative connotations. And she really starts this article about talking about her sister, I guess, had won a case against her homeowners association because Lawson, she does natural gardening, a lot of native plants and things like that. They're beautiful, but they're not, pristine manicured lawns. And so her sister had won this case against her HOA because her HOA was saying that she had to go back to her manicured lawn. We have really positive connotations about the word manicured, but what does it really mean? Who's benefiting from manicured, right? And so, and then the news article that was written about this case that her sister won used these words that have these negative connotations. And so, this is really what prompted her to write this article. And she says, and I love this, she says, if you have a turf grass lawn on most of your property, your yard is not pristine, it is undergrown. Now that's a word that we've never really heard. We've heard overgrown, but thinking about lawns as being undergrown is, I think, a really powerful perspective shift. And she also says, if you or your lawn service company apply herbicides, insecticides, or synthetic fertilizers, your yard is not immaculate, it is contaminated. And if you regularly mow down whatever strip of land you may have under your purview, you might think you're keeping up with your human neighbors, but you're killing your wild neighbors.
That's good.
Wow. I mean, it's really powerful stuff. And so she really challenges the assumption that a manicured lawn is a positive thing, and she urges us to really consider what we value in the world and reconsider how we think about it and how our culture uses this judgmental language to shape our perspectives about what's good and what's bad when it comes to our yards and our public spaces. And I'll link that article down in the comments, and I hope that you will read it and share it, because I think this is a perspective that people really need to think about and shift. The article really resonates with me, and I know it resonates with both of us because we love our wild native plants, and many of those are actually called weeds, which has a negative connotation, but they're actually, those weeds are oftentimes powerful medicinal allies. And of course, we love introducing people to these green friends. And they are oftentimes very much featured superstars in our herbalism program. And every year we have students who tell us about how they are really struggling, maybe not to shift their own perspectives, because I think that comes naturally in our program, but the perspectives a lot of times of their family members, particularly those who might be caring for the lawn. And inevitably, the one that they have the hardest time with is dandelion, because dandelion is so maligned, and every time you see a lawn care commercial come on TV, it's going to be the dandelion. How do you eradicate dandelions, eradicate the dandelion? And I just think that is the saddest thing, because dandelions were brought here on purpose because they're so beneficial. And I always encourage our students when they're having a hard time with that, I said, just stop calling it a dandelion. Just start calling it official remedy for disorders, because that's its Latin name. Taraxacum officinale means official remedy for disorders. So just start calling that. Oh, you're pulling up my official remedy for disorders again? I love that. Again, it's perspective shifting. We start our language and the way that we think about that it just is really connected to how we think about things. So we start thinking about what you call things and how you think about things, and share that perspective shift with other people. I really liked that a lot.
That's good. And I think there's so much truth to that. Even calling the earth dirt.
Right.
I switched to calling it, it's the earth. And it is the earth.
Or soil.
Or soil.
Soil is very much a...
But it's not just dirt.
Right, exactly. For sure.
So it's thinking twice sometimes while we're thinking here, and as to what comes out,
Right. Yeah.
as in many things.
Right. That's so true. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to think about, how our perspectives and how those developed and what influences those and who really who benefits from those. And yeah, because what we, in our opinion, of course, what we really want nature to benefit. And we want more wild spaces for nature. And, we're doing this prairie restoration project out here by the shop and really on our land here that we have that we're caretakers of. And we've already commented, it's, this is its very first year, and it does look, I mean, I'm sure people think it looks unruly when they drive in, but we're going to put some signs up so people understand what we're trying to do. But we'll look out even from our window at home, and Derek said the other day, he said, do you notice how many insects there are above that little patch of land? I said, yes. The butterflies, the dragonflies, that is the most active piece of land on our entire property, on our whole 10 acres, that little swath of little native prairie restoration. And that's the life that I want to promote life, right? We want to promote life.
Yes.
Life is good.
It is quite a shift to go from a green lawn that's been sprayed
Yes.
with chemicals that are not good for the environment nor us,
Right.
to go to the wildness.
Yeah. Biodiversity. It's what it's really all about. It's supporting our native species. Yeah.
I've always thought, though, that a front yard, as well as the roadsides, should be wildflowers
That'd be nice.
with a little pathway through the front yard,
Right.
and have the wildflowers and not the other.
Yeah. It's very welcoming.
It is.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the time of farmers markets, and zucchini and tomatoes
Oh yeah.
are in abundance right now. And if you don't have them in your own garden, go to the farmers market, and be sure to buy from them, because they work hard to get these things brought to the farmers market, and we don't have to have old food. In other words, it's set in the trucks for 2 weeks,
Right.
or picked green. The tomatoes have been picked green,
Or sprayed with that terrible appeal stuff that keeps the vegetables at the store looking
yes,
fresh, even though they are not fresh. And I always say, too, when we go to the farmer's market, really support those who are growing organically, because those are the ones, again, who are really supporting life.
yes. And one of the other things I was going to mention to you, too, that, in the summertime, I find it a little bit tough to make food to eat. And when you live alone, it's even a little bit tougher.
For sure.
And so I try to make things on the weekend that I can eat all during the week. And if I bake a couple chicken breasts and such, I can have chicken salad, which I do love.
And I do too.
Yes.
So yummy.
I like to put the red grapes into it, maybe some candied cranberries, celery, onion, all those good things into it. And
Toasted walnuts even.
Exactly, or
Yum.
pecans.
Right? Oh yeah.
And one of the things I like to do recently, I have just kind of discovered rolling it into a tortilla wrap.
Ooh.
And I enjoy it that way.
Good idea.
And so it can be any of those ways of eating it. And I look for little recipes that I can make that are just very easy, using the produce from the garden.
You bet. I just love some tomatoes and sliced red onions and cucumbers if you have them, or just olives in just homemade salad dressings, a little vinegar and olive oil. Oh, so good.
So good. You're right. Well, I have a little applique that I was going to share with you this week. This is one of my favorite little appliques because I love the colors in it. The earthiness of this brown, and all of this material is hand-dyed wool. And one of the things I used to teach with the applique or the rug hooking, and that is that the hand-dyed wool it looks like a wool that's really alive. If it's not been hand-dyed, it becomes flat-looking. This gives depth to it, and because of the depth, it's just a little more visually appealing. Mm-hmm. It has light value, medium value, and dark value when it's dyed. And I love the soft pinks, and this are not really the pinks. It's kind of the dusty rose color. They're old-looking colors, and this has been a favorite one of mine.
It's gorgeous.
Applique is a very easy thing to do. If you don't know how, I can certainly show you sometime. If you're going to stop in, just let me know. It's just super easy. I call it almost a no-brainer because once it's cut out and pinned on, all you do is stitch, and it's just if you've ever, of course, a lot of people have not hemmed a skirt.
Most people probably
But that's
do.
just, it's one little simple hidden stitch, and it's just super fun to do and super easy to do. And I do love to have something to work on even in the evenings because, as my mother used to say, busy hands, happy heart. And it does help with either anxiety or boredom. Either one.
Sure. Well, and it's
To
so
have something to do.
so creative. It's a creative outlet, and again, you're giving new life to old materials, right?
To fabrics, yes.
Yep.
Now, this is a Maggie pattern, a Maggie Bononomi pattern, and I do have all 8 of her books. They are, I believe, out of print at this point, and you might have to find them on, not
eBay.
eBay probably, I would say maybe, if you wanted to collect any of them. But they're wonderful. I was thinking, I know I've made probably 4 projects out of every single book of hers.
Wow.
So that's a lot of projects.
They're
already.
beautiful.
And they're just great fun.
Well, and
so
the colors you choose are always just
I love
so
color.
perfect.
I love colors, but I like the old colors. Whereas some people will love the bright colors.
Right.
And
Everybody has their own taste.
to each their own.
For
That's
sure.
right. We do what makes us the happiest.
That's important.
It is. I wanted to share with you a little quote in here in the book in the July chapter. And at Sewing Circle, friend Cheryl brought a very pretty bouquet of flowers from her garden. And there were zinnias and Queen Anne's lace and fountain grass and phlox, the summer flowers
Beautiful.
that were blooming. So she brought and shared with us. So thank you, Cheryl, for doing that. And this little verse in here says, "In joy or sadness, flowers are our constant friends."
Yes, they are.
And yes, they
And
are.
we're really enjoying them. And we have flowers that grow out here too. I love getting a bouquet at farmers markets. You can talk about farmers market. That's
Exactly. Either way,
flowers they bring joy.
something a little different than what you grow yourself, maybe.
Exactly.
And so we'll plan to see you next week.
Good earth blessings to you.